everybody, Baron5X here. Today, finally gonna complete something I said I've been trying to do. I would do for months now. Not months, days, weeks, I don't know. Since sometime in the beginning of this 1.7 patch, I said that I wanted to do a review of how Season 1 went. You know, this first year of Zenless Zone Zero. And finally taking the opportunity to do that. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything, really, about me getting into ZZZ, the game itself, gameplay, the characters, the story, and everything in between. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to my channel. Like this video, leave a comment, let me know what you think about Season 1 and anything you have looking forward in Season 2. And with that, let's go ahead and kind of get started here. So, kind of thinking back on everything. Yeah, what was my first impression of ZZZ, right? I think I mentioned before, I'm almost certain that I've mentioned before that this is pretty much my first gacha. And asterisks on that, because I have played other gacha games, but this is the one that I have fully invested in more than any. I've touched some other gacha games. I'm trying to remember which ones. I played Genshin for like 20 minutes. I don't even think I did gacha pulls. Maybe I did do at least one gacha pull, but I honestly didn't know what I was doing in that game, and it just didn't interest me in the long run. The one that I did play for the longest time was Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. I think I played that for about 6 months ish. Before I kind of gave up on that too, and just started watching cutscenes online because of that. Because Kingdom Hearts was super important as far as plot goes, so needed to do that. But I mean, cut to what, like maybe 2 years ago from this video recording, maybe a year and a half, when they started playing ZZZ trailers, right? And immediately the aesthetic of the game bought me in, like an action-oriented urban fantasy game. Like, yeah, I wanted that. I wanted that in my bloodstream. I wanted to put it right in the vein. So I was excited for that, and ZZ did not disappoint from the get-go. While I was doing research for this video, I thought it was like a whole month before I started playing ZZZ or something. Turns out it was like 4 days after it's released. Well, 5 days, because ZZZ released on July 4th, 2024. And I'm looking through my pull history and saw that I got my first agent on the 9th. So I did not wait as long as I thought I did. I don't know why I was in the impression that I played like weeks after release, which makes sense because Ellen was like first limited pool that I succeeded at, so of course it had to be within the 21 day time frame. But all that being said is that, yeah, it hit me hard from the get-go, from the characters, especially some of the voice actors that I was interested in and knew about. That extra hooked me, like being able to recognize particularly Anton and Piper. Those two are some of my favorite voice actors, so even just being able to play a game with them in it was already immediately like a positive, right? But once it all started to coalesce, you know, the action gameplay, the storytelling, how they were doing this like post-apocalyptic urban fantasy thing going on, where it's like everyone doing like these cool abilities and powers, but then there's a ramen shop we can go to afterwards, and it all kind of mixed in kind of a fun way, you know, and like the siblings having their own store, right? The video rental store, Blockbuster, basically. Yeah, everything from the beginning immediately got me, especially the plot, because I really was fascinated by the plot. Like, by the time the first chapter was over, even the prelude was done. We got to meet the Cutting Hairs and saving them. We got to meet Fairy, the hacking ability of the agents, especially the agent thing, where even though our main characters are Belle and Wise, they're not who we play as necessarily in the Hollows, right? So it was interesting that like we get to play as these two main character siblings who are technically in control of the situation for the most part, right? But they have these agents representing them in combat. That whole thing really made sense to me. I really jived with it because even it allowed me to like put myself in the shoes of the character that I end up choosing, while at the same time being all these other characters' proxy, which is probably how the game is going, right? So yeah. As far as whether the game met expectations, absolutely. Like it totally did. I was expecting a fun time. Again, the game looked great. It looked like a fun RPG. I think even before, it took me a while to even realize it was a gacha game. I think when I started seeing trailers for it, right? So, I mean, that was very different. I didn't expect a gacha game. And I think if it wasn't for how great the trailers were, how great the introduction of the game was, the fact that it was a gacha game might have been enough for me to like go, no way, no thanks. Because I haven't played any gacha games, and my favorite franchise, Kingdom Hearts, couldn't keep me into a franchise, to playing a gacha game. So at this point, I was like, what are the chances, right? But I mean, here we are, but like 10 months later, not 11 months later, and now I have a PNG tubing personality dedicated to this game. So yeah, hook, line, and sinker. And yeah, and that's what was pretty surprising for me as far as this game goes. It's just how much fun it is, how forgiving the whole gacha system itself feels like. And again, I don't have any other gacha games to really compare to, because I haven't played any except for Kingdom Hearts. And I mean, at least compared to that, everything feels fair, I guess. And I guess that's another aspect of the game that's super enjoyable, right? Is that the skill expression is the term often used for this. The skill expression you can use in a game is that, yeah, you can pull crap characters, for lack of a better term. I don't think most of them are crap. I think they're almost all of them are pretty good, super good. And if you play well enough, if you invest in your characters individually well enough, you can in fact beat endgame content with like A-ranked teams, right? I'm not quite that good yet. I'm pretty good, but not quite that good. So I still rely on my limited pool succeeding. But that was one of the great things about this game. I didn't have to invest if I didn't want to. I did, but I didn't have to. And even though that would have increased, not investing would have increased the difficulty of the game, it still was viable, which made, purchase not feel forced upon you. They made it feel like, oh no, I want to invest in this. I want to do more with these characters, right? So nothing so far has felt obligated, which I think some other, even Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Cross, sometimes felt obligated in order to compete. So that was surprising how, once I realized it was a gacha game, how that ended up feeling, and how I've been able to keep going with that. Of course, I think easily my favorite part of this game is the story and the characters. The characters especially. They're all great. I think if I had to rag on one, it might be Seth, but even then, Seth can be pretty endearing. But besides that, I love each and every one of the characters. If it wasn't for my particular playstyle, I would probably want to pull them all. But I mean, thankfully I don't, because man, that would get expensive. But yeah, all the characters are great. Like after 11 months and all the releasing of these different characters, you would think at one point and go, this character, okay. But no. I think the character that surprised me the most, and I think after that I just stopped being surprised, was Haramasa. Because he was the free agent we got in 1.4. And there was no reason for to get too excited about him just because everyone was getting him. And until I played his agent story, I fell in deep. I went in deep. I love the guy. He's great. Like, yeah, he can be a little grating sometimes. I don't know how we would get along IRL, but like knowing his backstory, knowing like his commitment to his own character, it was incredible. And his agent story is up there, one of the best ones. And again, a character that is probably not nowhere near highest tier for me as far as like how much I love them. Not even like gameplay wise, just like how much I love them. Speaking of the ones that I do, hands down, favorite faction is the Sons of Caledon. Hands down, I absolutely love the Sons of Caledon. Even before I knew they were the Sons of Caledon, when we had just like Lucy and Piper hanging around, they were great characters that I didn't utilize enough. I think I used Lucy a lot in my comps in the beginning when I was running like Alan and Kaleda and stuff like that. But Piper definitely I underestimated. I don't think it was probably until 1.1 when Jane was starting to be released, and an Anomaly came into the focus, right? And the obvious comparison was Piper, but at that point it was when I'm like, well, Piper is awesome. And Jane's just like a slightly better Piper, which is like no fault of Jane's. It's just that Piper was just a really great character, really fun character, and both personality wise and gameplay wise. So, and that just went from there. Obviously, when Caesar and Bernice came along in like 1.2, that fantastic. They were immediately like some of my favorite characters, especially Bernice to this day, like top 3 characters for me. And then even Lighter, which poor Lighter is the only son of Caledon I don't have. I got Pulcher now through the polls early in 1.6. But Lighter, unfortunately, the only one that I didn't pull, just because by the time I got to Lighter, I was definitely feeding into the Anomaly playstyle, and so Lighter just didn't fit into that. Especially because very next patch we were going to get another Anomaly character in Miyabi, so I wasn't about to spend my poly on Lighter when I really needed to add Miyabi to the Anomaly build team that I had going on. One day I hope to get Lighter. I might just save some real war money and put it aside to get Lighter next time it comes out. Because it ain't happening now. There's too many things happening in 2.0 that I can't throw resources at Lighter. So sorry, Lighter. It'll be next time. And even just going back to Sons of Caledon, I think up till now, my favorite story moment, favorite like cutscene, favorite like in-game moment is the end of 1.2 main story where Caesar's has to throw in the bomb, the explosive to set off the ether reaction. And she like drives her motorcycle into the pit. Oh, that got me. I was captivated at that moment. They had me by the throat at that moment. That whole thing with Lucy like crying, like everyone's secretly shipping them, like crying out what happened, like in the back of your mind, like there's no jeopardy for the Gacha characters just because there are characters. If they died, it wouldn't make sense for them to be then your agent on field, right? In the very next day. But still, it got me. It was just such an emotional moment, like a culmination of what Caesar was trying to do in that patch. Lucy like shedding the tsundere just to emote on behalf of her boss. How all that mixed in was just fantastic. That is definitely still one of my favorite moments in the whole thing, among great moments. So yeah, Sons of Caledon is super up there. As far as like individual character, it's at this point it's kind of tied between Jane and Vivian. Jane was my first, as far as like when I truly fell for a character. Like, yeah, like Ellen was my first pull, and she was great and all, but it wasn't until I got Jane where it's just like, and I didn't even see her like character demos and teasers. I didn't know at that point that ZZZ was releasing videos like that and that they were important. So I hadn't watched anything, and I think the first time I watched anything was when who was released after Jane? I forget who it was. It was probably Chingy, or Chingy came before then. It was Jane. It was one of those two. Definitely, I think once 1.2 started coming out was when I really started paying attention to like social media and videos that were being put out. So yeah, Jane was the first, but Vivian is such a great character. Like I know she gets ragged on for being like a kudere kind of character. I don't think she is. I don't think she's that so strongly characterized. But she is just an endearing character. I love her. Or maybe I'm just a sucker for being fawned over by a virtual character. But still, I really enjoy the character. And then not only as a character, but in gameplay wise. Once I got Vivian, it solidified my anomaly-based lineups. All my comps can now reliably have like a primary and alternate team alignment thanks to Vivian, kind of basically empowering every other one of my anomaly units, especially Jane. So yeah, it's kind of a tie between those two. And then it being anomaly in general, I love that playstyle. I just love being able to build the meter, doing the disorders, switching back and forth. Bernice there being sub DPS with her anomaly buildup. It's so good, so good. That kind of circling back to how I'm thinking about how 1.2 ended with that emotional moment of Caesar claiming victory there. And the game brings it all as far as like these action moments, these dramatic moments, like these depressing moments. I think maybe 1.6 or 1.7 has some really dramatic and depressing crap as far as like character storyline goes. Like it's all been terrible. It's I don't think it's gonna get good again until we have Jufufu released, because 1.6 had Silver Soldier and being Trigger, and they had like terrible backstories, like terrible trauma in their lives. 1.7 had Vivian and Hugo, and again, terrible trauma in their lives, and that brought them to who they are, which it made them better people, right? But still, like, much trauma. And then they just released Yish 1's like a demo, and which was fire. But then they released a short film anime. And it's just back to depression. So I think it's going to be Jufufu is going to be finally the person that like lightens things up again. But it's going to be a dry spell, because usually they're pretty good about weaving in and out of like some dark, depressing stories and like some more triumphant, happy stories. So I like how all these different story sessions can kind of bring in a little bit of a different story. Each one of them, they can tweak it a little bit. And where they can be very action-oriented, dramatic, tragic, all that stuff. And in between all that, it's always pretty funny. There's definitely some laugh out loud moments throughout the game that I always appreciate. I've been talking a lot about the combat and gameplay style for the game. I've really enjoyed it up to this point. Starting with like combat itself. All the dodging around, the flourishes that come with moving around and dodging around the battlefield, the parry that just have so much like oomph every time you do a parry. You feel it, you can see it, it just has some weight to it. It's great. The way they parry this game is great. You could describe it as easy, especially as someone who plays a lot of Soulsborne games, where parrying is both a pain and a saving grace. If you've seen me and my other channel trying to fight off the consort Radon and having to turn my mage into a parry machine at the very end to survive. So me and parries have a long relationship. I gotta finish Sekiro, by the way. But yeah, it's just the fights are always so much fun and flashy, dynamic, and there's always so many options, because so far they've been able to build up all the individual characters to be pretty unique as far as their playstyle goes. So it's always a blast to do. I never get bored of the combat. Even like the endless tower mode, I still go back to it, even though now I don't get any rewards, just because I can keep playing and just keep trying the next level and keep seeing how far I can go. So like anytime I can make some time to play this game for the streams and for the videos that I do, it's always a pleasure. Team comps, I've mentioned that I am anomaly pilled, so especially after Vivian, I'm basically using exclusively anomaly characters in both my Deadly Assault runs and my Shiyu Defense runs. Just as sort of a challenge to myself, I guess. Not even a challenge to myself. I guess that's my shtick now, right? Like the exception to that will be Yishuan coming out here pretty soon as the Rupture class, giving her her status as a grandmaster. I expect that she's going to be pretty important to endgame content, at least for her patch, if not for longer. But besides that, yeah, the anomaly playstyle, again, I mentioned before, just really like focusing in on filling up the bar, using disorders, making the synergies work as best as possible. And with my anomaly characters, now that I have like 2 sub DPS anomaly characters, it makes that synergy way easier to manage. And if everything else, there's Miyabi and Yanagi, who have synergy all on their own. So I mean, between all the anomaly characters I have right now, I can definitely make comps for DA and Shiga defense pretty easily. As far as everything outside the game, I've appreciated a lot of the events and mini games throughout the game. The arcade has a bunch of fun games that I don't fully focus on a lot of time, but especially when other things die down, I definitely make time to go to the arcade and try to finish things up there. The social system of quality time and trust events, it's really cute. Be able to take the characters out on dates and socialize with them and learn more about them and have that bonding experience with them. That's always been great. The event games that they have, like the Bamboo Fall Guys and like the tower defense stuff they have, they're good, and they don't overstay their welcome. I appreciate that. I'm here for the other stuff, but these kind of things don't overstay the welcome too much. So they're really easy to enjoy. I think the only minigame event that was like kind of long in the tooth was the Bamboo, when the Bamboo event was first introduced during 1.5, and I feel like it took forever to finish that. Maybe I just wasn't expecting so much plot to be centered around it, so I was like, oh, is this going to be over yet? How long is this going to take? But even that, at its lowest, it felt like a lot of fun. A lot of what they've been doing lately with like story mode traversal, I know they're in flux with it, and I know we're going to get a new system for it in 2.0, but I really do miss the TV mode. I think I mentioned in other videos before, but I am of the opinion that TV mode was a compromise where the developers could have an easier time to take us through the story and then focus in on like cutscenes and the fights themselves. But I don't know why all the complaints came about TV mode and they got rid of it. I think that was to their detriment. I feel like that made them have to work, redouble their efforts on things they weren't having to before. Which I don't think hurt the quality of the rest of the game, but part of me is like, man, what could they have accomplished if they had more time to cook the other stuff instead of having to focus on, well, now we have to figure out how to play as wise and go from train car to train car to look for the thing that's in the area, as opposed to just having done that in TV mode, where it was a lot easier. I think a lot easier. There's been talk about bringing back TV mode, but it won't be the same degree. But in the end, for me, I would have been fine with it if it meant that it could really crank up everything surrounding TV mode. So I don't miss it necessarily, but I feel like it was necessary to live with to make everything else as awesome as it could be, and I was happy with that. Apparently, other people weren't, and apparently the ZZ devs took that feedback with them, which that's a shame. I feel like there isn't that many vocal opponents against TV mode, other than saying that it could be better, which sure, it could be true, but it didn't need to be get rid of. But such as it is. So how's my luck been? I actually have some stuff I can share about that. Let's pull it up on screen here, because I do have some stats for how that's been going. I look at the stable channel. It looks like, as far as like my A rank ability, pulling ability, doing like better than like 40% of people apparently. So it takes about 6 pulls on average every 10 to get A rank, which is good. It's like 6 out of every 10 pulls I'm getting A rank. As far as S rank pulls though, I've only gotten 8 in total out of 300 pulls here, so it's kind of a low percentage. I should probably do a quick calculation here, right? 8 out of 380, 2% chance. I have a 2% chance anytime on average, since that 2% of my pulls convert into S rank. 5-star characters. So there's that. Looking at the limited channel, the limited banners that pop up, things look a little better. I mean, I don't like seeing that I'm in the bottom percentile of S luck, so people are doing way better S pulls than I am. But so far it seems that I win. The 50-50 win rate is basically at 50-50 for me right now. Every 50-50 encounter, half of the time I win it, half the time I don't. So that's is what it is. My A rank luck seems to be the same as my stable channel. 6 out of 10 turns into an A rank, which is again great for me. And it seems that on average it takes me about 63 pulls out of my 90 pulls to get the S rank up, which, man, that feels really high, especially because during the Vivian Jane run, I got really lucky and got some really early pulls. So the fact that even after that, it only tilts the statistics to 65, you need nearly 65 pulls in order for me to get it, which, yeah, that's basically when I hit 15 and I start doing the single pulls when it finally starts coming in. So not the worst. Actually, it's even better than that. I think it's even more like 25. So it's not the worst. Any average away from the statistical having to pull 90s is great. So there's only so much I complain about. But it is what it is, and hopefully my luck stays the same moving forward. But overall, I think I've been on average luck. Not to pull from average luck gamers. But I think my luck has been pretty average as far as my ability to pull in ZZZ, which is fine. Fine by me. I think I mentioned before, but I do feel like this is pretty free to play friendly. I was more or less free to play until 1.5, and then started throwing the wallet so I can get extra copies of Jade and Bernice and stuff like that. So, but even then, so most of the content is very doable as long as you're willing to put in the effort and the rotations and learning how bosses work and learning their playstyle, learning the abilities of your characters and leveling them up little by little, and then the daily commitment to resource gathering is not that bad. It's like 10-15 minutes tops every day. And I think it's even less than that, honestly. And then add like an hour a week for like your Hollow Zero runs and stuff like that. Maybe an hour or two at most. So it's not a huge commitment. And then there's like what in-game planning tools, and then like out-of-game planning tools like clead.me. ZZZ, that's clead.me, is a website I've been using to like plan out like how I'm going to upgrade all the characters and like how many days it can take me to level everything out. Right now I'm sitting like 40 days for my plan. That includes the plan of pulling Yishuan, Pan, and Grace here with the selector. So it's going to take me another 40 days to get them all leveled up. Such as it is. Hopefully that's in time before I get to even more characters who need to be leveled up, right? So, but besides that, yeah, I think this game is pretty friendly overall. Again, as someone who has limited experience in the gacha space, I feel like this game is pretty great about that. It's very accessible in that way. Events and seasonal content. As far as favorite events go, I mean, the ones that last all the time, I love doing the endgame Hollow Zero and Shi defense and delete all that stuff. It never gets old for me. I like the tower defense game we had a few patches ago. That was a really fun one. The Fall Guys Bang Boo game, I didn't play a lot of. I don't think I played any of Fall Guys. So the Bang Boo one is fun. Like I enjoy it for what it is. It doesn't overstay its welcome for me, so I enjoy that one. That's definitely a good one. And I appreciate how rewarding all these events and activities are. I feel like they give a good amount of resources and poly. Although on average, the poly count has been going down. I think they're finally bringing it back up. I don't know if that's just for the anniversary or maybe they realize that, hey, You gave us like 20k one time, and now you're like only giving us like 12. Come on, give us a little, you know, give us something to pull for, right? Biggest frustrations, I don't know. Hard to say if anything really frustrated me. I think the only time I felt pure frustration, twice. Okay, I can think of it twice where I felt pure frustration, and they were pretty recent, so that's probably one sort of recent. One of them is in Deadly Assault. There's that I forgot the boss's name. The robot that you have to parry. Typhoon Destroyer, I think who he was. For me, he's one of the harder BA bosses. It's because you don't necessarily have to, but your odds of clearing it 20k points go way up if you get the parry mechanic right. And I don't know what it is. There's more than a few times where the parry indicator comes up, I hit the parry button, and there's no parry that happens, right? And it's like I completely waste the time for that mode and for that boss fight when time is so precious. And there are even other times where it's just so hard to get that guy to go through the sequence to then do the parryable attacks. If it's because you shock enemies or shock agents with him, sometimes I accidentally shock him while he's in the middle of his really long set of moves that gets him to the point where he does the attack that you can parry. So when he gets shocked, then he has to start all over, and it's like, oh no, we're supposed to not shock him. It's such a weird balance. I just don't get. Especially for something you have to really, for the most part, you really rely on it. You really rely on the parries in order to get the most points and to achieve the 20k minimum. So just how frustrating it is to get him in line to do the parry. It just takes a lot. I think the other time that was frustrating was when I was doing hard mode version of some of the 1.6 story quests. The last one in 1.6 where you're going up to eventually fight Hugo. There's just so many cutscenes and talking points in the middle of it that it takes forever to run through it. And when you're just trying to do it again to max out all the data orbs and then completing hard mode in a reasonable amount of time. It just thinking I had to do it all over again. It's it'd be for 20 minutes trying to go through this. Yeah, so things like that tend to be frustrating. I don't think it's any fault of anything. I don't know how they could necessarily improve that, but those are definitely times where I just start pulling my hair out. Oh my god, come on. With that being the only things that I really have any real complaints about, I guess the other complaint is that sometimes the text is not right. The text doesn't match up with the English voice lines or the misspellings. That's very minor. That's doesn't really. It takes me out, but it's not the worst thing. It's just something I thought I were worth bringing up. But yeah, like I said, this game has done everything else super good, and that's why I'm here. Otherwise, I don't know if I would be, given it's a gacha game. Some of my favorite things they've been able to accomplish so far. So far, I've been able to get 9 stars on every Deadly Assault. It definitely helps that in the last couple of matches, I've had some vertically invested not only characters to throw at the bosses, but I still feel like even before then, I was doing everything I could to get 9 stars, and I made it work. I don't think I've had anything as far as bizarre moments or I've already talked about my play style, but let me look at PowerPoint here. Just some other stuff to review season 1, some things that happened over it. They were mentioned a little while ago, but Kaleda was the first limited agent that I pulled, first S rank agent that I pulled. I think she was the free one that you get in the very beginning of the game, and she was my first, and I used her in a lot of comps for the first 2 months, almost 3 months of the game, with Ellen and Lucy. And Ellen was for a long time my primary DPS, along with Corrin. probably going back and forth between them depending on the weakness of the bosses we were fighting, right? Kaleda will almost always appear in those matches. And then, switching between Lucy or Nicole and other supports that I had available at that time. Most recently, the very last S rank pull that I did was M1 Rena, but the brand new character I got was Vivian in the beginning of 1.7. Favorite is always Bernice. I love Bernice. That song release is on my playlist now. I listen to it all the time, and I don't get sick of it. Bernice is fire. Bernice is GOAT. Bernice is my life. As far as characters I haven't gotten yet, the only two I haven't gotten that I do want at some point probably is the primary lighter, because I want to complete the Sons of Caledon, get the whole faction on board on my roster. And the other one was Trigger, just because up until now I really would have liked a good character to give Yanagi some backup, because there's the other electric characters I haven't found the right synergy up till now. I'm hoping once I get Grace that changes, because I think there's some dynamics with Yanagi and Rena and Grace that I can take advantage of. But if it turns out that I can't, between now and the next time Trigger comes out, I can't get a good comp going, I might be convinced to get Trigger and pull her. But number one priority after this time will be lighter. The only reason I'm not picking up lighter now is that I don't got enough resources to spend. Miyabi I use all the time just because she's a strong character and I'm trying to clear content. Like, especially Hollow Zero in trainings, VR training, I'm usually using Miyabi so that I can make quick work of it. And she's clearly the strongest DPS that I have and strongest DPS of the game. Right now I'm saving for Yu Xuan. Like, that's 2.0. As soon as 2.0 comes out, I'm pulling for Yu Xuan. Even right now, I'm still having personal conversations whether I'm going to get just M0 if I'm going to go for M2. Just because I don't plan on pulling for Jafufu, and M2 allows me to have a little more flexibility with who I can pair her with. Because I'll definitely have Pan from pulling all that pulling, but it's still up in the air who's going to be best for me to give that third slot to. Caesar's up there, but I also like her on the Sons of Caledon team, so I don't know if I want to sacrifice that team synergy. Maybe, it depends. I prefer if there was someone more dedicated to that team, and that's probably going to be Pultra. Depending on how well she synergizes with that team once I'm actually playing it with my own hands. It might be Ishwan, Pan, and Pultra I run together. Or at least until I get the other right character for that third slot. I don't know, it's kind of up in the air. I feel like I won't know until I get there. Need for combat? Astra. She's just enables any team you put on her. She's even in DA right now with my strongest teams. She makes a difference between getting 21k and like 36, 30, almost 40k on DA fights once I include her instead. Highest strike right now, especially thanks to Jane. Thanks to Vivian, Jane has the strongest single strike with that. Getting assault triggered. That does so much damage, especially now that it triggers a critical version of it, critical damage. So yeah, the strongest single strike is definitely Jane. If I had Hugo, it would probably be Hugo, but I don't have Hugo. And right now my weakness character is my stunner Ambi, just because I have not invested her beyond level 51. That was just to get to collect the discs. She's on my to-do list, like very far, like a month, 2 months from now. We'll probably start investing in her, Billing, and Anton, or like the last three A ranks that I haven't fully leveled to level 60. But I'm focusing in on my core teams right now, so I'll get back to them later. Going through the other list here, first 5-star, like I said, was Kaleda, sending you there. Bernice is the favorite. Vivian was one of the most recent. Lighter, probably the most wanted. Strong and favorite DPS, definitely Miyabi, just because of what she can do for me. Favorite sub DPS, that was a choice because it was between her and Caesar. I mean, that's her and Bernice. And I think Vivian is doing it for me right now, as far as enabling my anomaly team. So I give it to her. Astra, best support of the team of the game. Horn, she did a lot for me. I loved her for what she did for me, but if I could change one thing, I would probably use Piper a lot earlier. She is my favorite 4-star. Second place given to Nicole, given just how useful she is. But in retrospect, I wish I had used Piper more in the beginning of the game. I would have crushed it even more. Favorite element is fire, hands down. Bernice, fire. And then the anomaly play style. I am anomaly build, so I am all in on anomaly, and will anytime I can, I will choose anomaly over anything else. With that, I think I've kind of just finished going over my experience with season 1. I'm super hopeful for season 2. You already saw my video. If not, go watch it for season 2 preview, right? And even the character teaser and short anime film for each one. I'm excited for 2.0. So, yeah, if you want to see more details about that, you can watch some other videos. I don't think I need to get into it any further here, but there's so much story and lore and new characters, new fights. Ellen's getting buffed. It's going to be great. 2.0 is going to be fantastic. And I'll be here. I'll be here streaming. I'll be here making videos. I'll be here ranting. I think from now on, instead of waiting till the end of a season to talk about everything, I'll probably do it once a patch, so that way I can talk more details about plot stuff. Because I know I called out some plot details, but it was really hard to get into the actual plot without just spending another hour here just going through the actual plot. So I'll just start that new habit in 2.0. But yeah, that's it for me today. Again, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to my channel. Like the video. Notifications if you really want to know when I'm popping, right? Follow me on Twitch and TikTok. I'm Baron5X on everything. Blue Sky, follow me there if you want to get notified about when I'm doing anything. And leave a comment. Tell me what your favorite character is from season 1. Your favorite event, favorite cutscene. Just tell me your favorites that you saw in season 1. And then we'll share some stories. Maybe I'll even deep dive into some other stuff. Yeah, that's it for me tonight. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you in season 2. Take care, y'all. Goodbye.